I think the big question is, what can we do, particularly when we're dealing with this pandemic and the economic fallout from that I think is only going to add to the inequality in this country. How do we deal with that? What are some real policy solutions, and then potentially some business solutions, too, about how we try and address some of these issues and move from here?
I think the first thing, rainbows only follow storms. You've heard me say this before. You cannot have a rainbow without a storm first. And nobody changes in good times. Why would you? We only change in bad times. Well, these are some bad times. These are some challenging times. So it's time for some radical transformational change. I think the first thing is we got to get our head right. We got to get our head in the game. I'm reminded of the CEO of Coca-Cola, Mr. Woodruff, Robert Woodruff in the 60s when Dr. King was alive. And Dr. King won the Nobel Peace Prize. And when he came home, this is a story that not many people know. He came home and the business community in Atlanta wouldn't honor him. Refused. The mayor called the CEO of Coca-Cola for help. And the CEO gathered everybody in the room, the business leaders, and said, look, let me explain this to you very quickly. I run an international supply chain company. He just won the most important award in the world. If you can honor this man, we're going to move out of this backwards town because you don't understand how the world works. Well, they honored him. The ballroom was full. All people see is the fact that the ballroom was full. That's what the image that the world saw. We need leaders like Robert Woodruff at Coca-Cola who use the power of their brand, power of their balance sheet to force a new vision of what's right in this country. I was talking to Xander, who I think will be on your show a little later, from SurveyMonkey. It gave a brilliant answer to your question. It's the balance sheet. What can your companies do? They're watching as your CEOs. Reimagine your balance sheet. Not reimagine your balance sheet, your budget, I mean. Look at your budget. What are you spending on advertising and where? Where are your internships? Where are you getting your apprenticeships? Where are you spending your advertising dollars? Are these minority-owned firms? Who's covering your investment funds? I mean, look at your budget and use your budget as a way to reimagine how you can have an impact. Is your lobbyist just caring about your own industry and interests? Are they also saying to Washington, D.C., hey, we need you to have policies that encourage internships. We need you to have policies that reward apprenticeships at scale. We need you to have policies that give everybody financial literacy as an investment in this country. We need K through college education. K through high school is no longer enough. We're being left behind by the rest of the world. K through college, minimal education, because ignorance is banished with education and exposure. We need access to capital from for all levels of society, because Steve Jobs, if he wasn't adopted by a family in Silicon Valley, he might have been adopted by a single parent in Detroit. We would not have, unless he was lucky, we would not have the Apple that we have today. He was a Jordanian immigrant who was passed around from family to family. He got lucky. Lucky the gene pool. Ended up in Silicon Valley, and voila, you have Apple. How many Steve Jobs are there sitting in inner cities in America who could add to GDP? I'm not asking for charity. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm not asking for anything. I'm saying that we need a necessary investment in the revitalization and the reset of a new America, the redawning of new GDP. And that needs to be a conversation in corporate boardrooms and in the legislative halls in states and in Washington, D.C. for what I call a new Marshall Plan.